Today, most of the world is commemorating the victims of the tragic 9/11 attacks. But not everybody knows that the U.S. government is still investigating the devastating events. Just 2 months ago, a congressional report was published regarding the involvement of Saudi Arabia in the terror attack. Joining us in the studio to shed some light on this is Middle East expert Dr. Mordechai Kedar. Thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
So let's begin. What was published in this 28-page report?
Well, first of all, I would like to correct you. I'm not sure that the most of the world commemorates those events. I'm at all not sure that the Muslim world at large commemorates it. They disassociate themselves from those events. They claim that Al-Qaeda never represented the Islamic world, especially what came out from Al-Qaeda, the Islamic State recently. Definitely they view these acts and those organizations as something which came out from Islam, acted against Islam, not according to the consent of Islam, so they don't want to be, part of it. So this is only one little correction. Now, about the Saudi role. People tend to say that 15 out of 19 people who perpetrated the 9/11 attacks were Saudis. It is correct, but they did not act as messengers of the Saudi regime. On the contrary, they acted against America because America was supporting the Saudi regime. They actually acted against the Saudi regime. They were opposition to the Saudi regime. Could be that some Saudis, even in the States, supported them by money, by shelter, by I don't know what, other means as well. But definitely, they did not act in favor of Saudi Arabia.
Now, when the CIA initially, started launching this investigation, they claimed that Saudi citizens were not involved. What changed? Why are we suddenly seeing all this information come out?
No, they were involved, but not as the long hand of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, look, imagine that some Israelis who hate Israel go and kill some others. So where did they act against Israel? They acted for Israel? Not at all. They acted against us because they hate us, although they have Israeli citizenship. So this is actually what happened. They were not serving the ruling elite or the ruling family of Saudi Arabia. They were acting actually against them. Of course, things have to be investigated because there were all kinds of signs that some Saudis, even officials, were involved in a way or another with supporting them. Maybe they didn't know what they are and what they prepare to do. They might needed some, let's say, support, help, charity, or whatever, and they got, only because they were Saudi citizens. Not necessarily the Saudis knew about their plan and what they are planning to do.
Now, why was this report published 15 years after, the attacks took place?
Apparently, there are some parts which actually show that either the Saudis, by reluctance, enabled it, or some Saudis who maybe even in official positions in the United States actually helped them. And this actually will expose the Saudi regime to claims in American courts for taking part in these things. So this might be the reason why this report was not revealed completely, especially the secret part of it. And maybe in the future we'll see it and we'll see what happened.
How do you think, this report is going to influence the U.S.'s relationship with Saudi Arabia right now, if at all?
Look, could be that the cold atmosphere between the United States and Saudi Arabia during the last couple of years are the result of what happened. That some people in the American administration try now to punish the Saudis, either by turning a cold shoulder to the Saudis or by supporting Iran. And the nuclear deal with Iran and the money which was given to the Iranians in cash definitely is against the Saudis, especially now when Iran is fighting Saudi Arabia on the Yemenite soil, on the Iraqi soil, on the Syrian soil, and on the Lebanese soil. So definitely in the competition between Iran, or the struggle, I would say, between Iran and Saudi Arabia, some Americans do support Iran.
Interesting. Now, let's talk a little bit about how this is going to influence Israel, if at all. You know, there have been reports that Israel and Saudi Arabia are growing closer. Finding out information like this, what kind of impact will that have on Israel?
Well, Israel and Saudi Arabia share today at least two things. One is the fear from Iran. Iran threatens Saudi Arabia as they threaten Israel. And I really don't know who will be the first victim to Iran if they actually want to attack. Second thing is the bad feeling about the behavior of the American administration vis-a-vis Israel and vis-a-vis Saudi Arabia. Both states, I think, share the same bad feeling about the attitude of the State Department and the White House to these both countries. And this could be a very good basis for maybe cooperation, but at least understanding between these two countries. I'm not saying that there is hugs and kisses between Israel and Saudi Arabia, but apparently they have much in common today, much better than they had in past times. I think when Iran continues to devastate states like Yemen, Iraq, Syria, and potentially Lebanon as well, Israel will feel much more cozy with Saudi Arabia. If the other arenas, in addition to Syria, start to be in flames, and we didn't see the last scenario in Jordan as well, who is also shaking and shivering to see what happens on its borders in Iraq, in Syria. So definitely here we see, I think, with the Saudis in the same eye, many issues.
Well, thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
And we'll have you back soon.
Inshallah.